Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Snowfall. This episode, just from the start, the title of it is Betrayal. Like, you knew bad stuff was gonna happen.
Yeah, and for everyone out there that was saying that T was going to betray Franklin, you were right. Give yourself a pat on the back. You were 100% right.
I don't know why I'm patting myself on the back. I didn't see, I thought it was possible, but I
thought it was possible. I mean, it was kind of strange that she kind of just showed up and was getting all the trust and everything was all good. And yeah, I mean, it was a little sus.
It's kind of like when you randomly have like the character who suddenly has a big arc on The Walking Dead and they've actually been there the whole time. It's like, you know that they're about to be turned into a zombie or killed off or something.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, obviously, putting T in this position, it was important for sort of setting up just how screwed Franklin is. And how screwed is Franklin? Very screwed. Everyone is out to get him.
It's so bad. Everybody's in a bad position right now.
Yeah.
No one is happy.
We gotta talk in this video about what happened to Louie, our collective sadness for Jerome.
Oh, I want to hug Jerome so bad.
Everyone should want to hug Jerome so bad. And of course, I think we've all sort of accurately thought that Teddy was gonna be the person who was a little bit more aggro on Irene.
Yes.
We'll get to that before we go any further, though. If you guys dig this video, subscribe to the channel. You know, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming. We have more Snowfall, though. We're kind of getting close to the end of this season.
And be sure to follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. It's a little less TV, but a little more just sort of about us and what's going on.
If you want to see an Easter-themed car made out of Twinkies, that is the spot for you.
That's right. We did that. That was a lot of Twinkies and Peeps and Oreos. Each car had like 4 Oreos on it, and we made a lot of them.
We don't need to talk about how many of them I ate. Instead, we can just talk about Louie and Jerome.
Okay, yeah, we got to talk about that first and foremost, because that scene when they all went to FATBACK's funeral and Louie got shot and Jerome on the ground hugging Louie, it was so heartbreaking. Jerome is such a good character. He is so like hard and muscly, but he's so soft as well. There's just so many different layers to this character. He is one of the best characters on this show. That scene in the hospital killed me.
That was, in the midst of that was my hug the dog moment, because it's like, I needed that getting through this Jerome stuff, because it was so sad. I mean, this is not the first TV show or movie we've ever seen where somebody gets shot at a funeral. It seems like this happens actually a lot in this medium. It's always like, let's think of the most depressing place possible to then almost kill somebody.
But it was such a journey for Jerome in this episode, because, I mean, he was already feeling really salty about being lied to and having this secret kept about the CIA from him, from Louie, who's the person he loves and trusts the most. Franklin, you know, is his nephew that loves and trusts a lot. And he just felt so in the dark. So he's kind of gone from feeling salty about that to having his heart just ripped apart when he came out of that room, and he was just like, oh my God, you know, like, my love, it has all these tubes all over it. Like, he just can't handle it. To seeing that rage that I think everyone would feel after that, where even Leon was just kind of like, hey, Franklin told us to wait here. Jerome being like, I do not care what Franklin wants. And I think they all realized that there was just no stopping that.
If Leon is telling you to chill out, I think there's a pretty clear indicator here that you may be more than a little bit upset, and understandably so, in Jerome's position.
I'm just glad that they didn't actually kill off Louie. And I know she's not completely out of the woods and she's still in the hospital, but she is stable right now. I am hoping that she will just get better, because she is also a really great character, and she brings out a lot in the Jerome character. He brings out a lot in her. I really like this relationship. So please let her get through the season. We only have like 2 episodes left.
That was like my follow-up to that, was I was going to ask you whether or not you thought Louie was going to make it out of this.
Yes!
Okay.
Listen, I'm just putting that out there. It has to happen. Good vibes out into the universe that they are not going to take Louie away from Jerome, from me, from all of us.
I'm like 5% worried. That's a pretty low percentage. Like, I would be more worried if we didn't already see her get shot. It's just like have like somebody go in there and like do something to her in the hospital. It feels just kind of redundant.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's where anybody's going. No one's really specifically after her.
No.
It was more of for Leon, and nothing happened to him. So I think now that she is stable, she is going to get through this. All positive, please.
Okay, here's where, and I say this at great risk of getting just run off this video altogether because I'm about to say something you really are not going to like. I'm very worried about Jerome. Because Jerome, the moment Jerome said, I'm going to go over to that barbershop now. Don't go to the barbershop, Jerome.
No, why? See yourself out, Matt.
I love Jerome. He may be my favorite character in the whole show. But
he is one of my favorite characters in the whole show. I love him.
But
you and I are no longer talking.
Well, okay. It's going to make a very weird rest of the video. But it's like, not only is the barbershop going to be prepared for Jerome, but Jerome is not listening to anyone who is just like doing their... No, even Leon.
I understand. And what my hope is that sort of, maybe you can't stop him from leaving the hospital and being on his way, but there is a period of time in there that maybe, possibly, probably not though, that they would be able to talk him out of this or get him away from there.
They're going to have to do something because, yes, Jerome is a titan of a man. Like, it seems like he can probably take like 2 or 3 people at once. But these people all probably have guns, and I think what we've learned is that it don't matter how big you are, Jerome.
So does Jerome. Yes, he has muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles, but he also, I'm sure, is bringing a gun. He knows what's going on. The problem is that he doesn't know that sort of man-boy and everyone's been tipped off, and that they don't just have guns, they have like the worst guns, and that they're going to really be prepared for all of this because they think that Franklin is coming.
Okay, so here's the thing. Maybe there was a point in this episode where we could have said, all right, you know what we have here? There's hope for a truce. Like, there's a way that they can come together and figure all this out, right?
No, there was no way that there was going to be a truce. Especially for what T was kind of offering up. And I mean, we saw Franklin have that talk with Teddy where Teddy was kind of like, don't trust anybody. You can't trust anybody after everything that happened with your dad. And Frank was like, it's my dad. Like, if I can't trust my dad, then who can I trust? And Teddy is like, no one, Franklin, no one, right? So by the time then he went back to talk to T, and all of a sudden she's like, hey, so I have all this information, and maybe you could have a truce. Maybe you could give Man-Boy the plug to call off everything that Khadijah's doing. It doesn't seem like a very fair trade. It feels like Franklin could deal with this stuff that's going on with Khadijah on his own. He can find a way. His network is big enough to be able to really deal with this if he wants to. He doesn't have to give up the plug.
Here's the other thing I'm worried about with Jerome now is just that this show, it likes to dance around killing people, but it doesn't always go. And yeah, I say this knowing we've had some big deaths over the first couple of seasons, and we did lose FATBACK, but it's like, okay, they really made us think that Leon could die earlier this season. Leon's all right. Louie, I think Louie's going to pull through.
She's going to pull through. And so is Jerome.
Well, that's where I'm going here. They're not going to get rid of... They have sort of... FATBACK is the character they've killed this season.
I think they will also kill Irene. So
okay.
We've been all sort of feeling that was going to end up happening. Teddy finally came back from his trip, learned what Alton did, saw everything in the newspaper, know that everything is going down the toilet. And, we saw Franklin vaguely try to threaten Irene. It didn't really work. And Franklin even admitted that to Teddy, where he was kind of like, I think my empty threats are not going to really go anywhere. And Teddy was like, I'll take care of it. So that scene near the end where he showed up and he was just like, basically, I'm going to inject you with this and you're going to wake up tomorrow. But if you keep on with this, the next time you will not wake up. That is a real threat.
That is terrifying, by the way. I'm
actually surprised with where Teddy is that he didn't just kill her. Like, what is the purpose of leaving her alive at this point?
The only thing I can think of is that maybe he was worried that if she just disappeared off the face of the earth, then people would assume, okay, then maybe somebody had her killed, and then they would do some digging or whatever else. But even with that, it's not like they had that much of a direct line of evidence to him in particular.
No, they didn't.
Like,
and they would have a very hard time proving that it was CIA in general. And people may whisper about it, but nobody knows. And no one was going to say anything after that. Nobody else wants to die. So I think it was a bit of a hole that he didn't do that. I think that Teddy would have done that.
Maybe he's feeling guilty because he and Gustavo killed about 300 people. I know it's not 3. Every time I tell the story.
I know, there's more and more people.
Yeah, I know. By the end of this season, it's going to be like, can you believe Teddy and Gustavo took out all 300 Spartans by themselves?
No, I think that it was completely in Teddy's character after everything that she exposed to just get rid of her, to make sure that she doesn't talk. Because if he gives her this opportunity and she wakes up the next day and is like, I don't care to die, so I'm just going to make sure that I can do as much damage as I possibly can and go down swinging tomorrow, because I'll still have one full day to get through this, where Teddy is going to have to come back and get me later that night. It's a huge risk.
This is the problem I do have with the Irene story, is that, the Teddy scene was compelling in its own way, but it is sort of like we all kind of projected this is where we were going with it, where, oh, what a surprise. There are some higher-ups that are now like, I don't know if exploring this is a great idea. Like, of course somebody was going to come in and be like that.
Yeah, of course.
And, like, of course Teddy or Franklin was going to come and threaten her, and of course somebody is probably going to eventually kill her before this season is over.
That scene with Gustavo was so good, where CIA came to basically clean up the Teddy mess, and he was just like, no, you're not my boss, get out of here. And they come back later and it's just empty. I was just like, yeah. Gustavo, you've stepped up this season.
Gustavo is great. He is like the perfect example of like that guy at the office who has like figured out every little rule in the rule book, and he is only going to do the bare minimum as required by that rule book. It's like, you want me to stay till 5:01? My agreement says 5 o'clock. I'm out of here, so see you later.
No, they've done a good job with him this season. I've never made it a secret that he hasn't been my favorite character over the years, but they've done a good job with him this season.
Yeah, I like the journey that we're kind of on with Gustavo. I mean, even some of the stuff with Teddy when he was doing like his own like out in the jungle, like trying to figure out what he wants to do and try to like all that was at least kind of interesting in itself. Though I was still like, okay, can we get him back to Los Angeles sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with all that stuff. For me, the meat of this show is everything that's going on with Franklin and the family and the business and Leon and all those guys. So, yeah, it's all right.
You know who I miss? Where's my Avi this season? Like, this guy was the worst. Like, he was my favorite Snowfall character to just sort of ridicule.
Yeah, he was really interesting and strange, but then it seemed like once he kind of like lost his way and lost his money and things were going really bad for him, I can now kind of take him or leave him as well.
Okay, so here's the other big question I'm sort of wondering, does Alton get away by the end of this season?
Yeah, so this was a really interesting spot too, where he came back to talk to Sissy and said, listen, I had to do what I had to do. Yeah. I've got passports, I've got money, I've got tickets for us to go to Havana together. We'll just sort of start our life over, but there's only for 2 of us. We're gonna leave Franklin behind, which I thought was really strange, because his whole thing was, I want to sort of save the family and get us all out of this. But I'm guessing after what happened in that living room, Alton is like, you can fend for yourself, kid. I'm out. But Sissy's reaction was exactly right. Or she was kind of like, you could have talked to me, your wife, your partner, your love. Like, instead you went and talked to this reporter. Like, you didn't even give me a choice. Like a choice, a chance, anything, a voice. You just took everything away from me and decided to do what you thought was right. And he's like, yeah, I did. I I did what I thought was right, and now I'm also doing what I think is right, which is, you and me going into our next stage of life. So later, when she tells Franklin, listen, I'm moving out of the house, and he was like, are you going with Alton? It was nice to see her say no. And whether or not that's true or not, that moment where she said, I am stuck in the middle of you guys. Yeah. I'm not here to abandon you. I am not here to abandon my husband. But listen, I am really tired of being in the middle of this. So yeah, I'm not going to be living with you anymore. I am not going off with Alton. I'm going to figure out my own, what.
I think it's a situation where she wants authority over her own life. And I think she's in a spot right now where Franklin is sort of being like, this is the business that I'm in. I will tell you sort of what I want to tell you about my intentions, but are they really my intentions? Not so much. And then Alton is doing the total, you don't have any authority in these decisions. I'm just going to make all of them for you. We're going to move to Cuba together. Let's go.
It's which is not a partnership.
No. And regardless of whether or not he thinks his opinion is right, I do understand it is really dangerous. You want to get out of there. I get that, but you can't make unilateral decisions. This is not your country, Alton. You are not president of Alton land. It is a collective government with you.
Yes, you have to include your wife. She has a choice. Yeah. It's not all you sort of thing. So, and now we've seen that everything with Davis has gone sideways. He has pulled out of everything. For Sissy, I don't know where that really leaves her, because that was the part of the business that she excelled at and was so good at, and was part of all of this to make sure that, her son was going to be okay. So going to these last 2 episodes with her, I'm just not sure where she's going to land. All right, so where do you think things are going to land with T? Is Franklin actually just gonna kill her, or is he gonna sort of turn her into a double agent?
Ding, ding, that one. Because if he was gonna kill her, they would have ended the episode with her being dead. There's no reason for them to start the next episode with, okay, now he's gonna kill her. It's that would have been the ending. So he needs to do something, because let's look at all of the people who want something bad to happen to Franklin now. Man-Boy, Scully, Khadijah, everyone who works with them. Alton's not happy with them. Sissy's sort of questioning everything. Leon's still not on a great page with him. The list goes on and on.
Jerome's also pissed. Yes. Yeah, no, he's in a really tough spot. He needs allies, and he needs them quick. Yeah. And the thing is obviously he knows already he can't trust T. He just listened to her sell him out on the phone. Yeah. So the thing is I just don't know how he's going to be able to sort of turn her, because Man-Boy's also threatening her. He said, I'll give you some money. Also, I won't kill you. Also, I won't kill your brother and your family. So you're going to do what I want. What is it that Franklin has to be able to sort of really push her past this moment where she could easily lie her way out of it? Sure, Franklin, I'll give you whatever you want. It's no problem. I'll set up whatever. What is it that she's going to actually be able to get from Franklin? Because there's got to be some sort of protection for her brother, which is what she seems to be the most worried about.
I think he's going to rely on one of 3 things, maybe all of the above. Maybe it is, 1, trying to figure out some way to help protect her brother, which she clearly cares a lot about. Yeah. Number 2, maybe there's a financial incentive that he can provide to her alongside that. And then number 3, and I don't know if he's going to do this because he's so business focused now, is that he and T have a history. They do. I don't know if that's something he can sort of lean into, because the social game is not really Franklin's strong suit at the moment.
No, and the problem is, T already knows that they have a history, and she still did this. So I don't know if there is any way to sort of lean into that. So what I'm kind of wondering is Franklin going to use her to maybe set something up where he can get to Man-Boy more alone? Because right now, Man-Boy's sitting at a table with a bunch of people and a bunch of guns. Yeah. So there's no way he can actually get to him right now. So what I'm wondering is maybe he will stay with her to make the calls that need to be made to get Man-Boy to maybe meet up with her alone somewhere, and then he will kill her so that there's no way that she can go and, ruin any of this.
I think that's a good chance of happening, mostly because I don't know if T's making it out of this season alive. We've already done the Walking Dead comparison here.
Yeah, I don't know why she would. And part of the reason why is I'm not sure that there's any more story to tell after this.
Yeah,
for her.
She's one of these characters who was introduced with a very specific purpose. We know that she has a past with them. They threw that in there, but it's sort of like if that past was that important, we would have seen a lot more of her before now.
For sure.
Well, let's get your guys' theories on
Jerome!
this. Is Jerome gonna be okay? Is T gonna be okay? Don't tell us Jerome is gonna die. I don't believe that we can handle it. But
you said that in this video.
Okay, I have just tried to prepare myself for that tiny percentage chance of that.
Like it.
I don't want to be blindsided if they do something terrible, and I will not be happy at you guys, Snowfall, as though everyone is watching 22 minutes into this video. But, let us know what you think of this episode, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more. Also, give us a like and support us by checking those links to the store, as well as our Patreon. We'll see you guys here next time.